And I'm going to ask DeVaris Brown to come up and get himself set up. DeVaris has got a fantastic background and experience with times at Cisco and Microsoft. I think I saw a security researcher and DJ around the world. So obviously a chap who's been out and about and doing all sorts of very exciting things in the world of technology. He's the chief developer evangelist for Marmalade, and is going to give us a little bit of a breakdown on what those guys are doing and effectively how you make your application work across different devices. So I'll let him carry on setting up. But in the meantime, please don't forget to use the Twitter stream, #CasualConnect. If you have any questions you want me to ask on your behalf, if you're feeling particularly shy, or simply comments, anything will be gratefully received. So, like I say, I will now give DeVaris a couple of moments to get himself mic'd up. So think about those questions if you like, and in a second or two, DeVaris will take over. So I'll let him speak when he's ready. Thanks very much.
Hello? All right. Hey, everybody. Hey. So I have a quick story to tell before I get started. I was talking to Oscar yesterday, and he comes to me and goes, DeVaris, we're very good friends, but I had to go at your presentation. I must say, it was the worst presentation I've ever seen. So I told him, man, it'll be okay. And with that, I'd like to present to you my presentation. Who am I? I am DeVaris from Marmalade. I'm an evangelist, so I preach the gospel of Marmalade. I try to get app developers and game developers like you to see, to go cross-platform. I've worked at some pretty cool places before. Let's try this again. All right, stay put. All right, worked at some pretty cool places before. Worked on Windows, Azure at Microsoft. Helped build $1 billion business at Cisco. Helped build the Core 2 Duo chips at Intel. And worked on a little thing called virtualization at IBM for financial institutions, all right? So what is Marmalade, right? So we are a cross-platform utility. We are a native solution, not Objective-C and Java. What the heck? Yeah. Let's try this again. Not Objective-C and Java. We actually, when you compile with our SDK, you compile directly to ARM architecture. So you're able to deploy to a bunch of different devices, including iOS and Android. And I'm going to talk to you and tell you today in this presentation why the rest of these logos actually matter, all right? So we've made some amazing games. We've done Bejeweled. Goodness gracious. All right. All right, hold on. Okay. So we made some amazing games. Worked with some great partners, Plants vs. Zombies. You guys might have heard of Cut the Rope. It's a pretty good game. We did Need for Speed. We've done Pro Evolution Soccer. And we've worked with everyone that you see on the left there. So developers have an issue, right? And that there are over 500,000 apps and games inside of the iOS catalog, and there are over 350,000 apps and games in the Android catalog, right? So how do you make money? Well, as you guys have probably seen 5,000 times, you have to boldly go where no man has gone before, right? So inside of the Windows Phone library, there are, goodness gracious. Yeah, stay put. All right, so Gartner says in 2015, Windows Phone will have dominant market share, right? In actual Q2 of last year, Bada shipped 4.5 million phones worldwide. You're gonna hear from the BlackBerry guy after me, but they have, for the similar apps that are in the App Store, you're gonna make 4 times the amount of revenue. And there are gonna be 53 million smart TVs shipped by 2012. So this presents an enormous opportunity for developers such as yourself to go cross-platform and make some money that are actually in platforms that need compelling content. So a lot of you guys, over the conversation over the past year, has been a mobile-first conversation, right? So people are actually developing apps and games just for mobile first. But I want you guys to start thinking of it in a different context, right? You have to go cross-platform first. You have to start thinking about different platforms outside of iOS and Android to actually make money. And the reason why you do this is you can get the most ROI out of a single code base. So you develop one code base that can go across a bunch of different devices, right? You can easily test new platforms. Jesus. You can easily test new platforms with optimization and not porting, because porting is a very, very expensive exercise, and there are a bunch of companies that make a ton of money every year off porting, right? And then you can have consistent experiences across platforms, one single code base, and then you can go across many different platforms. But the main thing is that you save a bunch of time and you save a bunch of money. Wow, that was quick. But there are some issues with cross-platform, right? It's not a cure-all. So anybody that tells you that they can give you one set of tools that'll make your life easier, they're pretty much trying to sell you a bill of goods, right? You end up looking like a creepy used car salesman, right? HTML5 has this promise of, all right, well, you can create apps with HTML and CSS and JavaScript, but go everywhere. But as you can see, the performance is kind of run down, right? The performance isn't very as well as native. The discoverability piece, it takes a while to discover compelling content, for users to discover compelling content with HTML5. And then marketing across all of those platforms is a very arduous exercise, right? It takes money and it takes time to get people to discover your apps. Developing native apps is very, very expensive, right? You know how long it took me to find a picture of the euros in the States? Man, it was very, very hard. But it's very, very expensive to do that. And you end up needing to employ your team of super geniuses to get to go from native platform to native platform, right? So which tools should you use? Of course, I'm going to say the tool to the right. But you know, there are 4 different types of categories of tools. So you have your pure HTML5 tools. They're very, very easy to use. But if you want to use things such as the camera, use the contacts, use the accelerometer, it's kind of difficult to do. All right? Then you have your hybrid approach with HTML5, and then it has JavaScript hooks down to the native device. But the performance on that isn't as great. But it works for rapid application development, and it works for prototyping. Then you have the big gorilla in the third bucket there, right? Unity, which is our main competitor. And they make some amazing tools, right? They give you a big block of things, of tools, and say, hey, go make something, go be productive, right? But outside of that, if you really want to color outside of the lines, it really isn't the greatest solution. You get much better performance than the other two, and it's quite expensive to implement, right? And then you have us all the way to the end, the native solution, right? The true native solution, where you can compile down directly to the metal. You get the best performance. You get a very open and extensible platform. You can combine a lot of external functionality inside of the platform. We're pretty reasonably priced. And then the last thing, couple things are, rapid prototyping isn't as easy, but I kind of liken it to, would you rather, drive a Porsche, or would you rather drive a Ford? How many people like Porsches here? A few of you. Yes, how many people like Fords? No hands, exactly. So rapid prototyping isn't as easy, and we use C++. I live in San Francisco, the home of the web developer, so there's not many people that use C++, so that can kind of be looked as a negative, but we will be addressing that with Marmalade very, very shortly. Stay tuned. So I'm going to give you some super secrets to success here, right? Make your app free. There are a bunch of people that are going to be talking about freemium, but there are some benefits to going free, all right? So in June or July of 2011, Flurry came out with a report that said 65% of the revenue generated across the iOS App Store for the top 100 games came from free games. Free games, all right? There are going to be $11 billion in in-game app purchases by 2015, all right? 69% of paying users pay more than $10 per user. That's kind of a skewed statistic because only about 3 to 5% of the people actually make purchases in apps. But instead of getting somebody to pay 99 cents one time, you can get one person that loves your game and pays $1,000, right, to play your game. You can get somebody that, pays $10 to play your game. And to me, that's more of an indication that freemium is the way to go if you give somebody the option. If you lower the barrier to entry, people will be more susceptible to actually trying out your game, and that's what they want. As long as you have compelling content inside of the game, you'll be able to hook your users in. The other cool thing about the cross-platform tools is that you get to include the third-party ecosystem. So not every tool set is a complete stack, right? For instance, inside of Marmalade, we have an extensions development kit. And inside of the extensions development kit, you get to pull in external functionality to make your game sexier, make it cooler. So one of the things that you can do is get to know your users, all right? You use analytics tools such as AppSolar, Contagion, Flurry, Games Analytics, who I believe has a talk tomorrow. These guys are all of our partners, and they will be they have implementations inside of Marmalade that you can actually use their analytics tools to find more about their users, all right? More about your users. You can actually use the data that these tools provide to give your users the experiences that they want to see. You frequently use these tools to do A/B testing, and you can see how your users interact with different levels inside of the game to keep them coming back, all right? You have to get social with your games, right? So using tools that are app discovery tools such as Papaya, right, Oscar? Love you too, man. And some of these other guys, right? Users want to play games with their friends. They want to compete against their friends, right? And using some of these social libraries gives your game the opportunity to be discovered through the viral effect. Use ads, all right? It's funny that I get talked to about a bunch of different ad companies, and they're all like, hey, we have the highest eCPMs of everybody. And I always wonder, like, if you have the highest of everybody, who can be the worst of the bunch? But anyway, caveat. We work with a bunch of ad companies, so if you drop ads need screens to be popular. They need screens to fulfill their orders, and they need to find more about users. So they're willing to pay you guys for impressions. That's another way you can monetize. But the absolute super duper duper secret to success, you guys ready for it? Is to buy our SDK. So, if you go to marmalade.com/buy, we have 3 basic licenses. Those are flavor. But you can actually get it free. So somebody asked me, how can we get this free? You, sir, ask me how we can get this free. Thank you. Well, you interact with the community, you interact with the forums and things, or we become a publisher for you, and you can get the actual SDK that everybody uses for free. So that was my presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
Thank you. Any questions, anyone? Come on, there's got to be someone out there with a question.
And there's a prize for you if you ask.
We have prizes. Okay, let me chuck a question at you. So, Android, fragmentation, that's an issue. You're talking about multiple devices and support for multiple devices. Is it really simple to do this stuff? Because what's a matter in my mind is each device has a different mode of use. Each device has a different way of being, particularly if you're moving from a small screen mobile device to a tablet or whatever. Isn't it more than just the technology? Isn't there a bigger question about understanding the customer and the customer experience on every device that matters?
Yes, definitely. So for the technical piece of that, it's the cross-platform tools do a lot of the heavy lifting for you. But to adjust for different screen sizes, as in the point of Android that has 1 billion different screen sizes across many different versions of their platform, it's very, very hard to manage that. And using tools like the analytics tools will be able to help you figure out, all right, where are my users at? What screen sizes are they using? And how can I build this functionality inside of our code? For Marmalade, we include a full OpenGLES specification, so it's up to you to figure out what screen sizes your users are using so that you can develop your assets for those different screen sizes. But again, the cross-platform tools will take care of a lot of that platform fragmentation. So you really only have to develop for one Android OS, just instead of 1.6, 1.7, all those different 2.0, 4.0.3. You don't have to worry about that with the cross-platform tools.
Cool. Do we have any more questions before we hand over to the next speaker?
Which happens to be...
No. Well, thank you, DeVaris. Thanks a lot. And great. Okay. So we have another speaker about to join.